This is Me Before Mom, the podcast that helps moms stay connected to themselves while doing the most important job they'll ever have. And I'm your host, Bert Anderson. Hey guys, this is Bert, and you are listening to Me Before Mom. So I have had an interesting revelation over the last 2 weeks, and it's something that I have been waiting to happen. Well, I guess I wouldn't say I've been waiting for it to happen because I didn't know that it was going to happen. But when my children were little, all I wanted was some alone time. Like when they were babies and toddlers, even that younger elementary age, I was like, oh, if only I could have some alone time. That would be great to have some alone time. And here I am, and I have an 11-and-a-half-year-old, a 9-year-old, and a 6-year-old. The 9-year-old and 6-year-old are really close with each other. They're both girls. So they're always off doing things together. And my 11-and-a-half-year-old is kind of out playing in the neighborhood, especially because, it's COVID time. So we're not letting our children play inside other people's houses or not letting other kids in our house. But the other day I was doing the dishes and I'm just like, doing the dishes and watching, I don't know what I was watching, some trashy reality TV show that, that I like to watch. And all of a sudden it dawned on me. I looked at the clock and I was like, I have been alone. I've been alone for a few hours. There is nobody here in this house. And I just kind of stood there quietly, and I had this it was like, I don't know how I feel about this. I've been waiting for this moment to happen for as long as I can remember, since I became a mom, and it is here now. And there's a little bit of me that's kind of sad because everybody is off doing their own thing and I'm stuck at home. Well, not even really stuck at home, because I could go and do what I wanted to do, but it made me think about, the age-old saying, or I don't know if it's an age-old saying, but when you're a new mom or you have a baby, everyone and their mother wants to give you advice. And the advice is usually, the days are long, but the years are short. I don't know if you're like me, but I sometimes, it is everything in me to be like, okay, well, that's great for you, but right now my day feels like it's 5 years long, and I would like for it to feel like it's 24 hours long. So you can take your days are long and years are short and just walk on and live your life. But it's really true, you guys. Gosh, it's true. It's so annoying. They were so right. All those other older moms who talked to me, they were right. Because I'm here now, and I want my kids to be independent. I talk about that a lot on here. I want to raise, good adults, good human beings. And part of that is allowing them, independence and freedom. I just was not ready for how I would feel in all of that. I remember I was talking to my mom a few years ago, and she was telling me about a really hard time that she had when she, as a mother. And it was when my sister and I were both, well, my sister was in middle school and I was in high school. And so we were really busy and kind of off and doing things. And she was like, I would just sit at home for, the whole day. I would be at home and I would be so lonely. And I just felt so alone. And I don't think I am at that spot yet, but I think I'm getting there, to the point where I have finally reached the age where my kids are, off and playing with friends. I know where they are. They're not driving yet, thank God. So I don't have the added anxiety of worrying about what's happening. But they're not being there makes me alone. Like it's just, that's the way it is. That's the way it works. And it seems like no matter what, whenever I want to be productive and I want to get work done, that is the time that they all come home. And then they need and want any and everything. They're hungry, or so and so did this or that, and I won't let them watch some stupid TV show they want to watch. And so it's this really, really weird transition to be in. I don't know, moms, if you have older kids, I'm sure hopefully you're resonating with me, or maybe I'm just the only one in the world who feels this way. I don't think I am. But I just think this motherhood journey is so weird. We wait our entire lives, or at least I have, to have a little bit of alone time and to kind of be myself and me as an individual. And I am kind of here right now, and all I want is for my children to come home. I find myself saying things at dinner like, nobody can leave the house after dinner. No, nobody's going. We are spending time together as a family. This is what we're doing. And then I hear myself talking and I think, oh my goodness, I am my mother. It's weird. It's weird. It's weird to be an adult, and I feel like an adult, but at the same time, I feel like a kid playing house, but I'm not playing house. Life is weird, guys, isn't it? It's really weird. And I'm not saying that I have the answers. I don't know if anybody does, to be honest. I hope that maybe when I'm like 75, I'll understand all of this and the weird transitions that happen with motherhood and the different feelings that happen. By then it won't really matter. And then I'll be the well-intentioned older person telling the young mother, the days are long, but the years are short. And they are. The days when your kids are young and they are physically dependent on you are so long. So long. And I knew that as my kids got older, the emotional side of things would come into play, and that those would quickly be the things that I would be having to deal with. And I remember talking to one of my neighbors about it because her kids were in high school when we moved into our house, and my children were, Brennan was in preschool, and I had Kendall, who was like 2, and then, within that year, I got pregnant with my third, Kira. And, I'd see her outside and she'd be like, oh, how are you? And I'm like, oh, I'm okay. I'm so tired. And she was like, I know you're so tired, but it really, like, trust me, when they get to be my kids' age, you take on a different set of tired. And it's not physical tiredness, it's emotional tiredness. I don't have a teenager yet. I have a tween, a boy, who thinks he's hilarious. Everything that comes out of his mouth is an attempt at saying something for reaction or a joke. So it's hard to take him seriously 95% of the time. But then there are those little glimmers where he is not trying to perform and he just sits and talks. And it's always very random, and he doesn't ever come in and is like, Mom, I need to talk to you about this. Like the other night he came in, something happened to him that day that was pretty exciting. I'm not going to talk about it because he would be mortified, and then he will never talk to me again. And right now he's talking to me. But he came into my bedroom, and it was like 10:30 at night. He sat on the bed and he was like, well, today was a crazy day. And I knew what he was talking about, but I was like, oh yeah? Why was it crazy? And he gave me this look and he was like, well, Mom, you know. And then he wanted to have like a 20-minute conversation about life and this thing that had happened. And I just wanted to go to bed because I was going to get up in the morning and work out, and I wanted to make sure I got to sleep. But the other thing that you hear from older moms is that when your children come to talk to you, make time for them, especially when they're young, because if you take those moments and you push them off, there comes a time where they stop talking to you. And I have seen it in my own kid where I've wanted to talk with him at the dinner table and he just totally is like, Mom, don't, I don't want to talk about this, Mom. And then I'm like, oh, okay, I got to be quiet, which is so hard for me because I am naturally a very pushy person when it comes to just talking, but I'm not in the driver's seat on this one. Like my son is. And I want to know like the ins and outs of his life, and I want to be kind of almost like that helicopter parent. Like that's what I want to do. I know that I shouldn't, and so I don't. But gosh, guys, like raising independent kids is hard. It's really hard because I always thought that looking at, helicopter moms and kind of judging them, like, I don't know why or understand why you would want to be a helicopter mom. And I kind of get it now because you are raising, you love these little people. And, you know, I basically, guys, I'm becoming a sentimental mess. That is what that is what I'm discovering. I have all of my children's baby clothes still, and I can't seem to get rid of them. Not because I'm going to use them for anything, because I'm done having children, and I don't think that they will want me to keep their entire wardrobe from when they were babies. But they're little clothes, and it's like you just hold them, and you're like, oh, I remember when you wore this. I remember when you wore that. And I am not an ushy-gushy, sentimental, like touchy-feely person, guys. And I am at this point in my life where my children are off playing outside with their friends. And, I live in a really great neighborhood. And so we all have like tabs on the kids and we know where they are at all times. And you can, text. We have a nice texting group and we text each other like, hey, anybody know where my children are? 9 times out of 10, my children happen to be at home when I do that. It's really, really obviously like in tune right there in my parenting skills. But they're doing what they should be doing. And I just want, I kind of want to go back and enjoy those baby years. But I don't think, even if I went back and enjoyed them, I don't think I would appreciate them. Because we don't appreciate the stage that we're in until we've left it and seen how difficult parenting is and parenting an older child. And, in a day, I would say that I go through like 10 different like states of relaxed and having fun with my kids to one of them having like crying and having an emotional breakdown because so-and-so's friend didn't do this or that and the other thing. And you're just like, oh my gosh, this is deep. Sorry, guys. This is really deep. I don't know what I'm trying to say other than, just chalk this up to another podcast episode of Bert verbally processing with you and word vomiting all of her feelings. I don't think I'm alone in this. And that's why I'm talking to you about it. Because I think at any point, I think you will probably feel the same way if you don't already. And so it's hard to not be perfect. It's hard to not be hard on yourself because you didn't take the times when, you had babies and really cherish them. Maybe you did. I would say that I did not cherish my time with my son when he was an infant. I just kind of was wishing his infancy away because it was a shock to the system as a new, first time mom. And then my middle child, I kind of understood it a little bit. But again, I had a toddler, so I wasn't very focused on her. And then my youngest, I really did appreciate like her infancy because I knew she was my last. But now I look at my son and I'm like, oh, just to go back and get the time when like he would want to sit on my lap and watch Thomas the Train or come up to me and hug me and, he would want those little time, like those little snippets of being with me, and now I have to beg him for a hug. And when I do give him a hug, he kind of like has his arms like barely wrapped around me. And I'm like, come on, that is not a hug. If you can, and I'm going to start trying to do this too, if you are able to, at some point during the day, stop and appreciate the place that you're in, appreciate the time, the moment that you're in, just once a day. Maybe as our children will grow up, it will not feel as sad or as lonely. And like I say, every day, every time we talk, you have to be kind to yourself and not beat yourself up over the fact that maybe you wished away, your kids' infanthood or toddlerhood, because we're all doing this thing, and we're, I mean, you're never really a parenting expert until your children aren't children anymore. And by that time, I mean, what else do you have, to say? I mean, you can't go back in time and cherish everything again. And then, like I said, you become the parent or the older person who's like, the days are long and the years are short. That's just the way life is, though, isn't it? It's just the way it is. So there's no sense in beating yourself up. None. So as you're going through this, like me, as we take the time to sit and, relish in the time and the place that we're in every day, at least once a day, I want you to also remember to be kind to yourself. Always be kind. That's all we have. Thank you so much for listening. Be sure to connect with me on bertmanderson.com, and please visit our website, matriarchdm.com, for all of the show notes and to hear other awesome podcasts.